India and China can never become that type of close association because there are civilizational differences. So my question to all of you, is AUKUS an example of a military alliance? Anybody attacks Australia, then UK and US must attack back. So इस झगड़े में our present author says China plus Arabs अगर ये जुड़ रहे हैं फिर तो इंडिया का तो डेफिनेटली कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है ना. Idea is you cannot read everything, you cannot revise everything at the same time. But कहीं ना कहीं शुरुआत करनी पड़ेगी. And we are deliberately giving you a mix of topics. Today I'll give you some topic on social issues also. Okay, women empowerment कुछ होगा, कुछ judiciary political aspects में होंगे. So there is no one theme alone to be covered. So one question students ask me is कि सर हमारा पूरा स्टोरी कैसे बनेगा? Some of you met me yesterday. Okay, how will I know all aspects of something? Now see, this comes in time. अगर आप लोग meticulously एक या दो आर्टिकल भी करते हो every day, okay, you realize that in 1 month you would have covered at least 40-50 articles, and 40-50 articles, they will not be in one theme anymore, right? Some will be on geopolitics, some will be on environment, some probably on economy, some probably on social aspects, some probably related to security. ऐसे होगा आपका. And it's not that you'll do only one article. हर theme से आपने एक दो कर लिया होगा. So imagine at the end of second or third month, जितने major issues होंगे, across every major issue, you would have covered 4 or 5 articles. And while studying the 4 or 5 articles, you will develop a common thread. So your understanding of any issue will not come from reading one article. It will come from reading more articles, but more articles across 2 or 3 months. तो आज ऐसा नहीं है कि सर आज करेंगे हम टॉपिक ऑन ला नीना एल नीनो and I want to know everything about it. वो possible नहीं होगा. आज का आर्टिकल करो एल नीनो ला नीना, कुछ समझ में आया नहीं समझ में आया, ओके. अगर आर्टिकल इंपॉर्टेंट है तो आई एम श्योर दोबारा एक आर्टिकल आ जाएगा ऑन दिस, आप उसको कर लेना. अगर इंपॉर्टेंट है फिर एक और आर्टिकल आ जाएगा, उसको कर लेना. बाय द टाइम यू डू द थर्ड और द फोर्थ आर्टिकल ऑन इट, आपको वो लिंक समझ में आ जाएगा. दैट इज हाउ करंट अफेयर्स में आप डेवलप करेंगे. बिकॉज सी, it's almost impossible to go back and study कि क्या न्यूज में था लास्ट ईयर, उसके पहले क्या न्यूज था, वो नहीं कर पाएंगे आप. You'll only end up killing yourself. You focus ahead, and as stories get repeated, plus we are there as a team, will help you there. As stories get repeated, धीरे धीरे आप समझ में आ जाएगा how the issues are linked to one another. So don't bother about कि सर हमें पूरा कहानी पता. It's always bothersome thought in your mind कि हमें पूरा स्टोरी पता नहीं है. ओके, वो आपको आर्टिकल पढ़ते पढ़ते ही पता चलेगा. there's no other way out here, some of which I'll demonstrate today. Now let us start off with that article you had on the chaotic world wala. Okay, I'll ask you some questions, you keep answering and we'll develop a conversation on that. Now if I ask you उस आर्टिकल से what were your takeaways? Takeaways will not be in terms of okay, just what the article says. It's more in terms of आपने क्या समझा है. So if I put them in heads, okay, so that article on the chaotic world, okay, so what are my takeaways? Takeaways means मैं क्या आर्टिकल से लेकर जा रहा हूं in terms of understanding. Takeaways are in terms of our understanding. इसका एक बहुत important aspect है, that's what I'm helping you with, is you must understand who is this man called M.K. Narayanan and how is he different from, he was what? He was India's security advisor. Okay, he was one of those important people around which security framework was being developed. He was the chief of the intelligence bureau. So इनके counterpart अभी कौन है? Who is the counterpart of the gentleman today? Mr. Yes, Mr. Ajit Doval. It's very important to know. देखो ये articles, when these people write articles, they write articles according to what their thinking is, and they are shaping the thinking of India's policymakers. They are reflecting the views of India's policymakers. तो अभी सरकार के पार्ट, okay, present dispensation के पार्ट ये हैं, and he was part of the older order. So what he says, you must evaluate in terms of आज का thinking क्या है. ये बहुत important point है. If he's an important man, but if you accept whatever he says, it's possible it might be in conflict with what's happening right now. So you should know the background of the two people. Okay? Achha. If you look at the older dispensation, जो हमारा older setup था, and this is our current thinking. Older dispensation का very important aspects of Indian foreign policy में क्या था? One was around NAM, and somewhere we were more antagonistic to US, and historically we have always been warming up to Russia. Okay, I hope you all know the term called NAM. Okay, non-alignment movement, Nehruvian policy tha. Okay, the idea was we'll not be part of any power bloc, but we were more closer to Russian ideas, and thoda distrust tha US ke saath mein. If you look at the today's thinking, today NAM has been kind of discredited. Ki NAM pura bekar tha. India gained nothing out of it. It was of no consequence. However, our distrust with US continues, but okay, we are also warming up to US. Utna strong opposition nahi hai, but we are warming up to US. I think warming up to US started somewhere under the Manmohan Singh times. Okay, when we had this civil nuclear pact. Okay, we had some agreements, and India was able to convince that we can be part of some kind of nuclear technology, nuclear fuel ka trading partner ban sakte hain. So for now, just know that as something called as the civil nuclear pact with US, and that changed many of our positions. Okay, so ye abhi bhi anti-US hai, but not as strongly. We continue to be pro-Russia, but the reality is the Russian influence is declining across the present world. यहाँ तक commonality है, but एक और बहुत important difference होगा. In the older dispensation, we were more pro-Arab countries. We were more pro-Palestinian rights. And we were, if not anti, we were more neutral towards Israel. ये part थोड़ा change हो रहा है. While we continue to show ourselves as that we are pro-Arabs, we are showing ourselves as, okay, Palestine matters, but we, यहाँ पर बहुत major change हुआ है. We have become very, very strong in terms of our Israeli position. We are developing as very close partners with Israel. अब इसका consequence with Arab world क्या होगा? It remains to be seen. So you must understand from where is MK9 coming and what is our present. So इनके article में he talks about NAM was very, very important. Don't ignore that. He's talking about that you have to engage with the countries and accept the fact Russia is declining. And in the old dispensation में China was not in our radar in a big way. China हमेशा रहा है, but China was not as big an issue when we had the older dispensation. आज के date में China is a major issue. China is a very fast rising power. It has global ambitions, and today probably China can challenge any country, unlike what it could do earlier. So आपको ये दोनों का background पता होना चाहिए. That's why when you read an article, you must always read who is the author. Lick on raha hai. What? Because he is sharing his views. Okay, he is giving what his ideas are from the background he comes from. Okay, so in his time, China was not as big an issue. Hamesha raha hai China. Going back to the 60s war with China, okay, somehow our issues were always not as friendly. But aaj ke date mein, China is a major concern for us. Rising China and rising global ambitions of China. Isliye you must take his ideas with a bit of careful wisdom. That's one thing. Is it okay, all of you here? Achha. Second takeaway for us is, what does the article tell? Remember this is not your views. This is the article's views. According to article views, what is the status or what is the condition of the world today? और हम चाहेंगे आप सीखें कि आर्टिकल के वर्डिंग्स उठाएं. What does the article tell us about the condition of the world today? 4-5 बड़े अच्छे words use करते हैं. He says that today's world is at crossroads. जब answer लिखो ना आप लोग, you should use these words. Okay, that today's world is at crossroads. Okay, it says today's world is a divided world. Today's world has lot of instability. It's world at crossroads. The world is divided. The world has instability. The world across has lot of social turmoil. ये मैंने words first paragraphs उठाया है. The world is at crossroads. The world is divided. The world has instability. The world has social turmoils. Okay, और ये division का form क्या है? Okay, the article somewhere telling us clearly there is US and the West-led world. Okay, and यहाँ पर West is largely along the Western Europe. There is a US and Western Europe-led world, and there is a counter world also. Okay, और ये history काफी दिनों से रहा है, since the World War I, World War II. Okay, so World War II के बाद में, who was the counter world? The counter world was USSR. The USSR was always pitched against the US. So this article says that this division continues even now. Abhi bhi, you have the US and the Western European world, but yahan par, rather than USSR, it is now Russia, it is now China, and a very weak kind of, if not coalition, a weak grouping of countries that together are the Central Asian countries. Okay, ये बड़ा weak वाला grouping है, ऐसा कोई group नहीं है formal, but the world is divided, and China and Russia somewhere are leading this counter US or anti-US, anti-Western world. Now, ये जो idea है, this idea, okay, now this is almost like two different cultures. This is the Western culture. Okay, it has urbanization, technology, Christianity is very important culture here. And this is the Eastern world, non-Christian world. Okay, we have the Japanese, the Chinese, the Arabs, the Muslim worlds. Okay, India इसी conflict के बीच में कहीं पर है. Okay, now ये जो division है, the West and the rest, this is what a very important man, okay, Samuel Huntington, okay, he talked about a concept called as the clash of civilizations. Samuel Huntington talked about a concept called as, he wrote a book, The Clash of Civilizations. The today's world is about the conflict between two contrasting or two conflicting civilizations. But when Huntington was writing this book, he was implying largely the US and the West versus, okay, the Islamist force. And Huntington was greatly criticized also. Okay, he was greatly disagreed by many people because he says your theory is very Islamophobic theory. What he was saying is, look at Al-Qaeda, look at the Gulf War, okay, you look at the Afghanistan crisis, everywhere. Okay, in fact, the whole agenda of Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden was to fight the US. They said the US is the epitome of all evil in the world. The US and the West is the root of all evil, and their objective was to kill the Americans, to fight the Americans. The trade tower bombings, if you remember, the two towers falling down. So he was talking in that context. That this is something like the clash of civilizations between the US and the Islamist force. Now, this article says, something of this kind is still continuing. Ab kya hua hai? It is the Islamic world. इसमें ऐड क्या हो गया है? China ऐड हो गया है. इसमें ऐड क्या हो गया है? Probably Russian Slavs ऐड हो गए हैं. Slavs are the racial, ethnic population, not racial, ethnic population of Russia. Now they have got together and they are fighting the US and the Western domination. This article somewhere is talking about this form of the clash of civilizations. Okay. In fact, India ka challenge hoga कि where does India want to position itself? Does it want to play the role from this side, or does it want to play the role from this side? Okay, this is one of the you can say conflicts or debates about what position must India take. और एक चीज याद रहे कि US and Western world में इसमें Israel भी आ जाता है. Although Israel is not a part of any such grouping as of now, okay, but Israel is seen as extensions of the US. It's seen as the extensions of the Western Europe countries. तो इस article में कहीं ना कहीं ये भी idea है to understand what the reality is. Is it okay, all of you here? Okay. Then, if I ask you, from this article, what does India want? What does India want? India wants 3-4 things. Okay. The article tells, and remember, all of these are views of the gentleman. Okay. Number one, India wants that it wants to be part of both the blocks. के US के साथ भी रहे and along with anti-US bloc के साथ भी रहे. ठीक है? अब you can see this as a positive or negative, अलग बात है. And this idea of the desire to be part of both blocks, okay, which is now referred to as multi-alignment and not non-alignment. Okay, we want to talk to both of them. We want to be partners with both of them. Somewhere there is the idea, okay, that we have benefits on both sides. India desires to be part of both the blocks. So our objective is multi-alignment and not non-alignment. The next one, number two, India wants to be part of both blocks, okay, with a very independent strategy. Okay, we don't want to be part of the US strategy for the world. We want to be part of the China or Russian strategy for the world. हमारा अपना strategy होगा, which in our older conversations we have called this as strategic autonomy. We call this as the strategic autonomy. So we want to be part of both the blocks, engage both of them, but with our own independent strategy. We want to, I mean, in the words of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India aspires to develop our relationships based on our democracy, based on dialogues, and based on a development, and based on diplomacy. This is what we want to promote. Rather than fighting, conflicting, India should be part of both, using dialogues, development, democracy, and diplomacy. Okay, because we are officially, the world is not in a state of war like it was probably in the world wars, and not like what it was during the Cold Wars. So age of war nahi hai. That's what Prime Minister says. So let us do this. Ye hamara desire hai. Okay. Another desire is that somewhere India wants to maintain equidistant. दोनों के part हैं, but equidistant हैं. Equidistant position. Okay. And this, the article says, was demonstrating the fact that on one hand, we abstained from voting against Russia in the UN. At the same time, we were thanking Ukraine because it helped us evacuate our students. So now both of them are guessing, kya pro-Russia ho ki pro-Ukraine ho? Okay, so we want to keep that ambiguity, strategic autonomous bolo, or call it as strategic ambiguity. Okay, you be in between. So we are voting, we are abstaining from voting against Russia. At the same time, we also are profusely thanking Ukraine for helping us. And kahin na kahin hum ye bhi bolte chale aa rahe hain that the war is not right. Okay, so we are openly saying Russia is not right, but not taking anti-Russian stance either. This is what India wants to do. This is what India wants to do. Achha. The next discussion here will be what is the actual reality in India's foreign policy. Now, yahan par I think somewhere the author, okay, he is showing his anti-establishment stance, okay, today. He is showing that he doesn't agree with the government, what government is doing right now. Okay, the ye wala part is the critical part you have to be very, very careful about. Yahan par, okay, the author is a kind of openly criticizing the government, okay, in whatever government has been doing. So according to him, ye bahut important point, according to him, India ka actual foreign policy mein kya position hai? Write down 1, 2, 3, 4 point. First, he says that India is actually not doing much in managing conflicts in the world. और देखो ये बहुत important role है. If a country does not expend itself or invest itself in conflict management, उसका role हमेशा limited रहेगा. Okay, I mean, the world will not see you as a force unless you are part of some kind of conflict management, some kind of conflict resolution. Okay, Gandhi ji ka badapan kya tha? He was part of conflict resolution, but in a non-violent way. Okay, jab tak aap usme ghusenge nahi, nobody will give any importance. So the reality ye hai, India does not have any role as such in managing the world's conflicts. Jaise ki India could not really stop Ukraine war. India has almost no say in the Afghan situation today. Why is he saying that India does not have a role in global conflict management? Why? Because he says India actually did not stop or reduce Ukraine conflict. Okay, we have made a lot of statements, hyperboles, but we didn't influence the course there. India has not influenced Afghanistan crisis, खासकर after the US has withdrawn from Afghanistan. इसको और बढ़ा के जाएंगे, we'll say India almost has no role in the Gulf War. It had no role in the Gulf War. Okay, India has almost no role in the conflicts of Myanmar. India again, no say, no position in the conflicts related to North Korea. Not related to North Korea. Okay, Latin American conflicts चल रहे हैं. Okay, parts of Ecuador, Colombia, वहाँ पर भी कुछ खास नहीं है. So India does not play an active role in global conflicts. That's one. Second is, the reality is, India has been openly challenged by US vis-a-vis its Iran relationship. Vis-a-vis its Iran relationship. US ने कह दिया India को that if you trade with Iran, okay, we will have sanctions against you. India ने respond नहीं किया है. India has gone on the article says, India has gone into a cold freeze. हमारा एक्शन क्या होगा हम कुछ कह नहीं रहे. And the cold freeze has cost us. We are importing more costly oil. I mean, Ukraine conflict was a breather. तो सस्ता oil मिल गया from Russia. Otherwise, Iran से अगर trading नहीं कर रहे हैं हम लोग future में, our oil price will be high. And second, Iran was our only option as a gateway into Central Asia. India is developing a port called as the Chabahar port. Chabahar port. It's a series of projects that includes ports, roads, railways. And through the Chabahar port, India wants to have direct access to Central Asia, Afghanistan, and the rest. ये दोनों चीज इंडिया का हिट हो गया है. It remains to be seen India Iran के केस में क्या करेगा ultimately. As of now, this has been impacted. The article says India is playing a very, very passive role in the world affairs. India is playing a very passive role in the world affairs. Again, I repeat to say the article says so. You may or may not agree. Now, iska debate will go back to this, the difference between the present dispensation, wo kya kehte hain, and he belongs to older school of thought and what he is saying. So he is saying, aap itni baatein kar rahe hain, but you actually have no role. You have not resolved any conflicts. Aap actually drive nahi kar rahe ho global agenda. You are playing a passive role. And to add to this, he says that the global perception continues to be India's preoccupation with Pakistan. So, kind of, India is not able to get out of its regional concerns. India is not able to get out of its regional concerns, regional limits, whereas China has expanded dramatically. India has not gone out of its regional limits, and China has expanded dramatically. He says, ye reality hai. And he's being very critical by saying that lot of things we're talking about is utopian ideas, which is not the reality. India's foreign policy is based on lot of utopian ideas, utopian assumptions, which is not the reality. आप एक काम करेंगे, घर जाके आर्टिकल दोबारा पढ़ेंगे, and you must see from where I have picked up these ideas. Underline those ideas so you know how I am mining. Then the article says, next one. So ये आपका हो गया about what is India's reality. The next discussion is that एक बहुत important dimension that we are missing out is, or we must work towards this, we have to rethink our Chinese perspective and the Chinese viewpoint. He says, you must rethink on this. So, ये points में कुछ suggestions हैं. You must rethink, vis-a-vis the Chinese position. क्या सोचना? He says, number one, he says that unfortunately, the relationship with China is more adversarial. The relationship with China is more adversarial. मतलब हम एक type का conflict में ही हैं. It is more adversarial. And he says, this is a very important point. He says, India's fight with China is a civilizational conflict and not about territory. This is the interpretation of this article. That the conflict with China is civilizational and it is not about territory. Now, ये बड़ा interesting point है. जब भी हम चाइना के बारे में बात करते हैं, what do we say? China has taken Ladakh area. China claims Aksai Chin wrongfully. China is assertive on the eastern sector of Arunachal Pradesh. China is blocking India's claims vis-a-vis Kashmir. This looks like a territorial thing, no? And the world knows China is expansion oriented. China and its South China Sea policy. China is having presence in Indian Ocean. So China दिखने में तो लग रहा है territorial. The article says no. China is, with China, India का problem civilizational है, territorial है नहीं. तो अब इसमें आपको सोचना पड़ेगा, why is he saying that and what does it mean and can you agree with this or not? This is your opinion wala point here. So I'll take the conversation back again to the discussion on Samuel Huntington's Clash of Civilizations. ठीक है? So what did Samuel Huntington, ये होगा my interpretation, okay? This is not articles one. मैं समझा रहा हूं यहाँ पर. Okay. So Samuel Huntington had said the conflicts of the world are civilizational conflicts. And he had met what? He had met US versus rest में जो था, it was largely the Islamist, okay, resentment against the US. US and the Western Europe versus Islamist. Okay. Now what happened was, in one of the meets and summits, okay, our erstwhile CDS, Bipin Rawat, okay, he had made a statement. Bipin Rawat, okay, 2021 में उन्होंने ये कहा था that India's clash with China is civilizational. He had said this. India's clash with China is civilizational, because he was saying what China is trying to do is China is trying to align with the Islamic world. China is trying to forge an association with the Islamic world. Okay, कैसे? With Central Asia. Afghanistan में घुसेंगे, Kyrgyzstan में घुसेंगे, Kazakhstan में they will enter. Okay, and they will also influence Iran and also Turkey, and they will take on the West. This was the statement of CDS, late Bipin Rawat, that China is part of a civilizational conflict, okay, which officially our external affairs minister, okay, Jay Shankar ji, he had refused. He said no, China's fight and India's relationship is not civilizational. India and China, he said, okay, Jay Shankar ji said, India and China share a civilization. हमारा उससे झगड़ा ही नहीं है. India and China have same type of eastern roots, तो हमारा झगड़ा नहीं है. ठीक है? So now watch this. The official verdict says India and China are not in conflict of civilization. But जो नारायण साहब हैं, वो तो anti है ना. He is saying, you know, we agree with what Bipin Rawat ji had said. China is trying to develop a relationship. In fact, if you look at SCO, SCO is type of a civilizational grouping vis-a-vis the West. SCO का पूरा okay, grouping क्या है? SCO has 8 members, और 8 members में कौन है? Russia, India, China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, I think Uzbekistan, yeah, Pakistan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm missing one more. Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan. 8 countries are SCO members. Okay. Then there are observers. Okay, and there are dialogue partners. Or SCO का पूरा agenda is anti-US. Okay. Yes, some of them call SCO as the Chinese NATO. So इस झगड़े में, okay, our present author says China plus Arabs, अगर ये जुड़ रहे हैं, फिर तो इंडिया का तो definitely conflict है ना. Okay, if China is aligning with the Islamic world, okay, so definitely, okay, India has, okay, some issues here. तो इसमें लगता है maybe India is pro US a bit more. I hope you got the point here. Okay, so the fight with China, this article says, is a type of a civilizational conflict, where India probably is more civilizationally, okay, maybe aligned with US, and because these two are more conflicting in terms of India's interest. You'll have to think on this, agree, disagree, बाद में आएगा. तो statement का root क्या था is what I am trying to challenge here. So the article says that India's a relationship with China has been adversarial. India should not see China, okay, through the lens of territorial conflicts alone. India should not see China through the lens of territorial conflicts alone. ठीक है, लद्दाख का इशू है, जो भी है. but आप वो ना देखो. Okay. And importantly, he says that somewhere, India, okay, should look to, okay, associate with China. Otherwise, in growing Russia-China relationship, okay, India-Russia relationship will suffer. India must look at some ways of forging ties with China. Okay. Otherwise, in the growing Russian-Chinese relationship, Indian-Russian relationship will suffer. And it says, we should not be seeing China as our perpetual enemies. India should not be seeing China as perpetual enemies. That's a very difficult thing. एक तरफ कह रहे हो कि the conflict is civilizational, और फिर कह रहे हो उन साथ में दोस्ती भी करो. ये कहां से? How can we reconcile this? उसमें एक और टर्म यूज किया है, लिप एंड टीथ रिलेशनशिप. ये देखा आपने? ये कहां से आया है टर्म? लिप एंड टीथ रिलेशनशिप. Lip and teeth relationship is what China had used as a phrase to describe its relationship with North Korea. The दांतों और होंठों का relationship is very interdependent. If the teeth break, lips will get distorted. If your lip is hurt, your teeth is also impacted. The lip teeth का मतलब यही है. In association, if any one is having problem, the other will also have a problem. So China had called its relationship with North Korea as teeth and lip relationship. And the article says, India और China कभी teeth and lip नहीं बन सकते. But we can still have associations. India and China can never become that type of close association because there are civilizational differences. There are civilization conflicts. However, we must still explore the idea of some associations. Okay. Otherwise, we are putting ourselves at a disadvantage. Okay. Then the article also says that it is wrong to dismiss the success of NAM. The article says it is wrong to dismiss the success of NAM. Okay, NAM को आप पूरा discard मत कर दो, because according to him, ये जो idea है to engage with both, keep equidistant, okay, and have multi-alignment. He says this is utopian. Okay, आप कह तो रहे हो, कर नहीं पाओगे आप. So don't dismiss the gains of the NAM. NAM gave India a lot of status, a lot of position, and whatever. Probably is coming from his own ideological roots. आप agree करो ना करो, ये एक perspective है. ठीक है? And the last point the article says is, India must also have some rethinking on its nuclear issues. India must have some rethinking on its nuclear issues. Why he says this? So number one, till now, the world has seen a kind of stability vis-a-vis the nuclear weapons. कहीं ना कहीं एक type का balance है. The present world order is very balanced, is very stable in terms of the nuclear weapons. एक arrangement है कि we should not use it. But he says this can change rapidly. This nuclear stability can change very rapidly because India is surrounded by China and Pakistan. Both are nuclear weapons, and unlike China and Pakistan, India says no first use doctrine. हम पहले use नहीं करेंगे. India says that nuclear weapons should not be part of the wars. Nuclear weapons don't give you solutions in wars. India का ये position रहा है. ये दोनों ऐसे कह नहीं रहे हैं. Okay, they are not saying anything. So you never know they can use it. So इसमें India is at a disadvantage. And importantly, China continues with its nuclear technology upgradation. The technology of China in nuclear is now very, very sophisticated. उस condition में, he says, India is at a disadvantage. Okay, because both of them are non-committal about use करेंगे नहीं करेंगे. हमने तो कह दिया हम use नहीं करेंगे पहले. Okay, it's like we have limited ourselves, but they are not doing so. Plus, China is working on nuclear sophistication. So the gentleman says that the world can quickly move towards nuclear instability, which can be debilitating for India and for the whole world. It can shake up like a lot of power equations in the world. देखो मुझे पढ़ाने में I took about 30 minutes, about effectively I think 20 minutes, because I'm teaching. For you, the work should be approximately about maybe 1 hour of work. आप पढ़ेंगे, and I have categorized the article, right? कि article कहाँ से आ रहा है? What are its concerns? Maybe what are its ideological influences from the history and the background? What it thinks about the relationships and what is proposing as solutions. Now go back and check whether we have covered the points of the articles or not. Okay. Now इससे मैं आपको 2-3 सवाल पूछता हूं. Because SCO is in news, you must know some facts about the SCO. Okay, ये कल के पेपर में भी था, आर्टिकल में भी था SCO. Members कौन हैं? Okay, and a very tricky thing for most of these associations is the objective of the association क्या है? Okay, so this is one work of yours. Second work, try finding out what do you mean by military alliance. Find out what do you mean by military alliance and give me some examples. Give me examples, maybe 2-3 of them. Okay, for example, okay, NATO is a military alliance. Warsaw Pact countries is a military alliance. अगर World War I देखा है आपने, something called as a triple alliance was a military alliance. Okay, triple entente, ENTET, triple entente, France, Russia, and Britain with Ireland, okay, was a triple alliance. Okay, the Ottoman and the Bulgarian alliance was a military alliance. So military alliance का मतलब ये होता है, if any one country gets threatened or challenged or attacked, others must attack back along with them. ठीक है, is a part of the commitment that your military security हमारा भी responsibility है. In today's world, what are the examples of some of these military alliances? NATO तो है ही, ये सब history हो गया, ये सब जा चुका more or less. Okay, in today's world, some example is UK Sweden का pact है, UK Finland का part है. Okay, a very famous one in 19 I think 43 or 45 में था, something called as Five Eyes Pact. Five Eyes. जिसमें कि we had US, Australia, Britain, New Zealand and Canada. Okay, Five Eyes. This was a military alliance. और इसी का एक और version है, okay, AUKUS. I'm sure you all know this. AUKUS is essentially Five Eyes minus Canada and New Zealand. And Canada and New Zealand have some observer status there. So my question to all of you, is AUKUS an example of a military alliance? Anybody attacks Australia, then UK and US must attack back. Anybody attacks UK, then Australia and US will attack back. Can we call AUKUS as a military alliance? My question again, can we call Quad as a military alliance? Is SCO a military alliance? It is a thought for you. And why? अच्छा, इसको आप differentiate करना होगा. What is military alliance versus what is security alliance? ठीक है? That's how we slowly, gradually learn some things. Quad का क्या position है? Okay, what is SCO? What is AUKUS? Okay, Ukraine का problem यही था. Ukraine was not a part of any military alliance. Okay, that's why NATO officially could not attack until Russia comes into Poland. With Poland, they have a pact because a part of NATO. Okay, Sweden is not a part of NATO. So Sweden tries to become a part of NATO. And you know the issues with Turkey and so on. These are your food for thought.